The Star Wars Darth Maul series is officially here, so let's just talk about it because today we're talking Star Wars Maul series premiere, breakdown, and review. But before we get into anything, guys, please, for me, like this video, subscribe to the page, and hit that noti bell. Alright, so the Darth Maul series, starting off, some of the things that I think this episode did really well was Maul's actual entrance, which is actually how we first saw him in the trailer when he gets off that ship and he does take down some of those guards. That was a pretty cool moment, awesome way to introduce Darth Maul. He also had a couple of really cool fight sequences in these two episodes, and one of my absolute favorite was one of the final scenes where we do actually see Darth Maul once again have a hallway scene. It seems Star Wars absolutely loves to give us different Sith having different epic hallway scenes, and this one definitely did not disappoint. I feel like Maul was incredibly brutal in these moments, and it was really cool to see him on screen. Some of the mentions about the Empire from Darth Maul were also really cool. Him mentioning wanting to take down Darth Sidious was something that I was definitely intrigued in, and something I'm definitely looking forward to seeing in this series. We also did get introduced to Darth Talon. Now, she isn't officially confirmed to be Darth Talon up to this point. However, considering she is quite literally the same species as Darth Talon, and Darth Maul is very clearly trying to get her to become his apprentice, so I feel like we are going to go down a route where she is eventually revealed to be Darth Talon, or at least that is going to be the mantle she takes up when she does officially join him and she becomes a full-fledged Sith. However, speaking of her, that does bring me to a couple of things that I did not like about these two episodes. And first and foremost, I can't stand how many Jedi continue to be revealed to have survived Order 66. I know it was a decent amount of Jedi, however, it seems every single new project that we do get from Star Wars, we just find out about so many more Jedi that not only survived Order 66, but still managed to evade the Empire, which, considering Darth Vader and all the Inquisitors, I just find it pretty hard to believe, not to mention the fact that it isn't just one Jedi, it's quite literally two Jedi, and in addition to that, they are on the same planet that Darth Maul is on. Now, I don't know how long Maul has been on that particular planet. However, even the mere fact that all three of them have been there throughout these two episodes, so it would stand to reason they were there at least for a couple weeks prior to the beginning of this. It just is really hard to believe that no one in the Empire was alerted to this, and more importantly, Darth Sidious and Darth Vader could not feel any of their presence on this planet. It just realistically doesn't make sense to me, and I don't buy it. But speaking of things that I really don't buy, the fact that Darth Maul decided to spare Captain Olsen absolutely blew my mind. I feel like Darth Maul would not have done that, and they didn't even explain or show a reason as to why until later on when we do have to get even more character interactions from this Captain Olsen, where we do meet his son, and then he meets some random person who ends up trying to ask him to dinner, and we don't see any parts of that, thankfully. However, even despite that, these two episodes felt like they were about Captain Olsen, and Darth Maul was a secondary character. And I feel like that was truly the biggest issue I've had throughout these two episodes, was that Darth Maul, who is quite literally the title character, felt like he was either a secondary character or a tertiary character. He did not feel like he was a priority in this series at all. Yes, I get he is lurking in the shadows. However, that doesn't mean that we all want to be invested in Captain Olsen and whatever Captain Olsen is doing. Not to mention the fact that he is quite literally so stupid for two different times deciding to not inform the Empire about the fact that he not only found Darth Maul, but also two other Jedi. And he even saw one of these Jedi use the Force, and he still decides he doesn't want the Empire's help. This should absolutely blow up in his face, and if it somehow doesn't, I feel like this will just highlight how this series is definitely going to prioritize this character, who in my opinion, not many people are going to care about. I don't find him compelling at all. Every time he was on screen, I was very bored with the story. I wanted to watch Darth Maul. I wanted to watch him try to bring over Darth Talon to the dark side, explain the Force to her, explain everything with Order 66, maybe even see how her and that other Jedi survived Order 66. Maybe I wouldn't have as much of an issue with the two of them surviving, depending on how exactly they're shown to have survived. These were things that definitely mattered for this series overall, and instead they decided to take crucial time from this premiere for us to spend with Captain Olsen, who in my opinion is a character that is so irrelevant relevant. This is one thing that Star Wars has definitely been doing, where they introduce a new character that absolutely no one cares about, specifically in animated series, and then they make this character a main part of the series, sometimes even outshining who the title characters are. And that feels like what they're doing with this Darth Maul series. And that's a real shame, because a series that truly focused on Darth Maul would have been a lot better. Now, granted, this is just the first 2 episodes, so it could drastically change. However, in my opinion, if you're having a 2 episode premiere, and in those 2 episodes, Darth Maul is not the central focus of both of those episodes, that is a huge mistake. And a lot of fans are going to start to question whether or not this series is truly about Darth Maul, or if he is more of a secondary character. I feel like his appearances in the Clone Wars series, he had more going on and he had more of a presence in those episodes, versus in these 2, he feels like a background character, and it feels like we're following the story of Captain Olson, a character who, in my opinion, we don't care about. He is irrelevant, and all they continue to do is try to hammer home that he isn't asking the help of the Empire, and he's not going to inform them about any of this. So if somehow he gets away with that, in addition to also being spared by Darth Maul, he will without a doubt be one of, if not the most lucky person in the entire Star Wars universe. And he has the biggest amount of plot armor, which is a term that I realistically don't like to use. However, in this situation, I feel like it fits so well, because there's no reason that he should have survived that encounter with Darth Maul. That doesn't fit with the character of Darth Maul. And in my opinion, if he somehow escapes all of this from the Empire and all the scrutiny he should be under after not telling them about all these situations happening, not to mention the sighting of Darth Maul, not only would I have an issue with that, but that would just show that this character is definitely operating on a total nother level of plot armor, in addition to being very unlikable. I feel like his son is also going to be involved with the Empire, and they're going to try to make this a sappy story between father and son. Maybe the son is going to get killed because of his dad's defiance. I feel like that could be a storyline that they might try to tell, trying to make us care even more about this Captain Olson character. However, to me, once again, I will say this series should focus on Darth Maul. He should be the main part of it. And I feel like if they do decide to go down the route of trying to make this even more about Captain Olson, making it about his son being in the Empire, and making them either go toe to toe against each other, or his son losing his life as a result of his defiance, I feel like that will just be a tremendous waste of time, especially because this is going to be a series that is only 10 episodes. So not only will we have essentially wasted almost the entire first 2, but if we spend any more time on this, especially going down a certain betrayal, father versus son type of scenario, I feel like that will just be a tremendous waste of time that would have made it hard to enjoy this series overall. Because again, you're taking so much of the spotlight away from Darth Maul, who this series should be about. His journey further into the dark side, and his journey to truly being a master of an apprentice and molding her to become Darth Talon. That would be something that is incredibly compelling. However, a story between Captain Olson and his son, and Darth Maul just being in the background while Captain Olson tries to hunt him down and do justice for the galaxy, just really doesn't sound intriguing or interesting to me at all. However, the ending of this episode at least gives us a little bit of hope as far as progression between Darth Talon and Darth Maul, because it does show us Darth Talon escaping using the Force. And this was something Darth Maul did try to hammer home to her, was that he wasn't keeping her prisoner, and all she had to do was use the Force and she would be able to free herself relatively easily. And lo and behold, once she does this, she is freed. And I feel like the next episode hopefully focuses on the 2 of them discussing the Force and discussing the events of Order 66, rather than the Captain Olson show. But I'm interested to hear from all of you. What did you think of the premiere? Did you find Captain Olson and that entire storyline to be as pointless as I did? Or did you really enjoy these first 2 episodes and are looking forward to the series overall? Let me know in the comments below. And while you guys are down there, please, for me, like this video, subscribe to the page, and hit that noti bell. And I'll see all of you in the next video. Goodbye.